There will be major spoilers within this video. Bayek of Siwa, Magi, Protector, Assassin. We are going to be looking over his history and his journey to becoming an assassin. Bayek was born in 85 BCE in Siwa, and he was a Magi. The Magi were experts. They acted as the police force, and they all had one objective: to protect the people of Egypt. They acted throughout places where pharaohs were common, and they were sworn to protect the pharaohs. The Magi were tremendously respected, and they were a symbol of duty, honour, and courage. The Magi are represented by a badge. This badge shows the key symbols of these values. The badge contains the Eye of Horus, which represents the Magi and shows they protect the people. The Magi first were founded during the Old Kingdom. After many years their numbers dwindled, and by the time the Ptolemaic dynasty the role deteriorated, and many Magi did not respect it. Bayek was one of the last Magi left. He still protected his fellow Siwans. The Magi also had a certain prayer. The prayer was, "Every morning of my childhood, my father and I spoke the prayer of the Magi, a promise to those in need. I am a Magi. I am a feather in the eagle's wing, a living dagger, plunged from the sky into the heart of chaos. I am a truth unknown, a scabbard unfilled, a son of the Nile, and a defender of the people. You cannot kill me, for I walk among the dead. Come forth by day, and I will guide you home." My son should have learned this prayer from me. This was taken at the end of Imhotep's song. Some trivia to the Magi is that in Assassin's Creed Desert Oath, the Magi are said to have their bloodlines and ancestors, such as like the Assassin Brotherhood, for example. Desmond Miles descended from Altair and Ezio. Assassin's Creed Desert Oath was a prequel before the game was released in book form. This is a quote taken from Bayek. "You beget oppression. Liberation is a subtle work of art, not simple, petty theft. You cannot take freedom, you must create it." This quote shows how invested Bayek is in making people become free. This shows how he represents the Magi badge in pure form. Liberation is a subtle work of art, not simple petty theft. This part of the quote shows how Bayek makes sure people understand how liberation happens and how it can be achieved. It isn't petty theft, as he says, which means it isn't simple and you need to have it planned out. So, let's look at Bayek's life. Bayek was born in Siwa, which acts as an oasis with the surrounding sweeping desert sands and the towering sand dunes. His parents were the Magi Sabu and his wife Atmos. When Bayek was a younger child, his family home was attacked by a group that was founded by a grave robber named Mena. Sabu had defended the home as a Magi would and killed most of them, but his mother also courageously defended Bayek. During his childhood, Bayek became friends with Hepzibah and Kenza. This is the girl who trained him how to hunt. In 70 BCE, Bayek lived in Siwa with his parents. At this time, he was in a relationship with Aya of Alexandria, a Greek girl who he loved. Bayek's father did not approve of the relationship, as he knew that Aya's dream was to live in Alexandria, and he feared that her mixed heritage would debase his teachings. Bayek had eventually asked Aya if she wanted to marry him after several years also, but she refused, as she still wanted to follow her dream. Bayek had now started training to be a Magi, the best training he could get. He learned to fight and be able to climb nearly anything at significant speed, climbing up with more ease each time he had did it until he had perfected everything, using shadows as his weapon and crafting weapons with immense power for him to use. After several years, Aya was now being trained by Bayek, and eventually Aya's aunt was not doing good, and so therefore Aya had elected to stop training with Bayek. Aya began the journey back to Siwa. On her way, she was set upon by horse thieves in a flash, and Aya could fight back. As she was trained, she fought them off courageously. At least that was until Bayon came. Aya had actually led Bayon to their training camp without knowing, and Bayon had shot arrows at the camp, and one had hit Sabu, but then Bayek's stomach also got sliced by a blade. All of them was injured, and Sabu had made sure to save Bayek. He pushed him into a nearby river to save him. This caused Sabu to be killed by Bayon. He had saved his own son, and he knew that Bayek could become an even better Magi. Bayek witnessed this, and he fell unconscious and was carried away by the river. Bayek, now alone, floating down the river and in danger until people dragged him out of the river and cared and looked after him for 4 days on a boat. Then he headed back to Siwa. He was relieved to see that Aya was okay with her aunt, but Bayek had warned Aya that Bayon wanted to kill them, and he was close. Bayek had immediately moved all of them to his house, and they defended it. After a long battle, Atmos had wounded him, and his last words were that Rhea had ordered all of the Magi deaths. After this, Aya and Bayek got married, and they protected Siwa together. They also had a son named Kimu. Many years passed, and Bayek then killed Rhea in his own home in Alexandria. With this occurrence, he was now viewed even more so as a protector and the free values of being a Magi, but he was seen by people of power as an inconvenience more than anything else. In 49 BCE, 5 members of the Order had went to Siwa and kidnapped Bayek and Kimu. The Order brought them to the entrance of an Isu vault beneath the desert sands and where the sun couldn't reach. The Order showed Bayek an old relic, and they demanded him to open it, but as Magi he could not open it as he had no knowledge of what it was. Ptolemy XIII arrived at the temple, and while he had arrived, Kimu stole the knife from the Order member and freed his father, who tried to kill the Order members, but when he took another slash, a Order member countered his attack and caused the knife to turn in the way of Kimu. Within a second, the knife was in Kimu, with Bayek then being knocked unconscious afterwards. Bayek was in turmoil and chaos within his mind. He had killed his own son, and he had to take revenge. Bayek tracked down every single member of the Order, and he killed them one by one. He eventually was able to kill Flavius, who was the true leader of the Order, and Craner and his revenge had been met, but he felt he wanted to still do more for the people. After all these events had come to an end, the formation of the Hidden Ones came around, with Bayek and Aya now becoming assassins. But Aya was now Amunet, who had recruited many more assassins to become Hidden Ones, and this is how the Assassin Brotherhood was formed. Now, some interesting facts. One being that Bayek had a scar on his upper lip, and this was like that on Altair, Ezio, and Aveline and Desmond. Bayek is one of the two known individuals to be gifted with eagle vision, allowing him to see telepathically through animals, in Bayek's case an eagle, due to Senu. Senu is Bayek's faithful companion and can scout areas for Bayek, so Bayek can know where everyone is, and Senu can also distract guards for Bayek to move in for the assassination. And Senu is always with Bayek. Bayek lost his finger during his fight with Udoris, and more specifically his ring finger, by the use of the hidden blade. This was an accident, but this later on within the assassins had become the way of the creed, and this was used to show loyalty. Thank you for watching. Hi everyone, I hope you enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun working on the project for this one. I tried not to go too much into the main game and focused more on the backstory of Bayek. I hope you enjoyed this one, and as always, have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!